Everybody, good morning. Thank you, or afternoon. Thank you for being part of our first of many to come educational webinar series that we're going to be holding here at BillFlash. We appreciate your time. We know it's important, so thank you, first of all, for being a customer of BillFlash and spending time with us here today. For today's webinar series, we're going to be covering a few critical things. The key to this webinar, the most important, is going to provide a training to you on how to get into your BillFlash account and use our automated patient payment services. Before we go there, though, I want to share a few trends that are happening in the healthcare space. So for the webinar today, we're going to cover some trends that are happening with respect to patient payment billing and trends, how to improve patient obligation awareness, how to expand your patient payment options, and then the automation process. All these tools, of course, being available in BillFlash. And then finally, we're going to turn time over to one of our head of account management, Grace Totten, who will spend some time taking you guys through this. This webinar will not last more than 30 minutes. So we'll go ahead and get started. I want to start with sharing some key stats and trends that are happening in healthcare today. Back in 2013, the head Aetna CEO Mark Bordolini at that time was speaking at a HIMSS conference, and he made this point. He said, by the end of this decade, patient responsibility will be more than 50% of the healthcare dollar. Now, healthcare is currently the second largest economy in the United States, second only to military. $1 of every 5 in our economy is healthcare. That means by about now, 50 cents of every $5 in our economy will be what patients owe providers. And so it is critical that we educate you guys on how to use the tools that are available in BillFlash to be successful at this. What I want to talk about is why this is happening, why there's a shift to more patient responsibility. It starts with the amount that a consumer now must pay before a health plan pays any portion of their bill. That has gone up by 255% since 2006. Today's American healthcare consumer pays almost 35% of medical expenses out of pocket. That is triple the amount paid since the 1980s. And now the number of insured Americans pursued by healthcare debt collectors is 1 out of 5 from patients with high deductible plans. So you can see some of these key stats that almost 70% of providers say their biggest concerns right now with patients is in patient collections with respect to revenue cycle management. Almost 70% of providers saw an increase in patient responsibility compared to 2017. So you can see these trends are starting to take effect. And more than 70% of providers are reporting that it's taking longer than 30 days to collect from patients. And we want to take care of this for you guys. So let me just share with you a couple of reasons why this is happening. Number one is because of high deductible plans. High deductible health plans are requiring patients to meet higher minimums, which means providers can't plan on getting any kind of reimbursement from insurance companies until those minimums are met. The second biggest cause to this shift is value-based care. Although a really good thing, mostly for patients, value-based care is causing an increase in your administrative costs, and with practices having to collect and submit more quantitative data on the patient experience in order to receive reimbursements. The amount of quantitative data you provide to the payers is going to determine the amount of reimbursement you get from the health insurance companies. So in other words, reimbursements are currently down, causing practices to try and collect more from patients. These are the two key factors to this shift, but there's a couple of other influencers. There's new consumer preferred communication and payment methods, right? New technology has replaced the way practices currently get paid because patients are now expecting to have communication done with them in certain ways. They don't want to talk to us anymore. We don't want to talk to each other. It's sad what's happening in our communities. We don't want to talk to each other anymore. Patients and consumers want to be communicated with electronically. That's text messaging, that's emails. I think we can all agree that that's the case. And on top of that, consumer review platforms, right, are directing patients' decisions, consumers' decisions on where they're going to spend their money. So because of the higher deductible health plans, because of value-based care, because they're requiring to spend and pay more, they expect and want to be communicated with their preferred communication methods. So let's get into this just real quick. The way you're going to find more success in being paid from your patients is improve that experience by communicating and managing their expectations. Patients want and expect electronic communication. Expand your communication methods. Let me share with you a couple of things. You want to continue to send, even though they want electronic methods, you want to continue to send paper statements because that's a guaranteed method of communication. They still have to physically handle their paper statement, even if they're going to throw it in the garbage. And paper statements can be used now better than ever to add messages, inserts, onserts, and backers with messages that grab their attention and remind them of what's expected by your practice. Coming soon with BillFlash, you'll be able to expand your billing communications and reminders in an automated fashion. So you can use all of the communication methods that are available, whether it's on the print and mail statements with inserts and onserts, or use email and text reminders to automate the process of telling patients and telling them that they have a balance that needs to be paid. So I would suggest that you use these communication options and requirements and preferences and set the expectation up front at the time of service when patients come to check in, how they should expect to receive their bills and what their payment options are going to be. They want more transparency, and if they get it and they get it the way they want it, you're likely to have more success in getting paid. You got to expand your payment options as well. Did you know that more than 70% of U.S. consumers today use at least 3 different payment methods to pay their bills every month? And so if you have multiple payment options available, you're going to see more success as well. Let's just share what some of these are. You can automate your billing options, again, with print and mail bills and electronic bills. Coming soon with BillFlash, you'll be able to text bills as well. So you'll be able to email electronic bills and text bills electronically as well. Payment options, you have in-office, which in itself has multiple payment methods available. You've got your traditional debit card and credit card swipe, the chip and PIN card, which a lot of patients prefer because they have that warm and fuzzy from the security that will come from that. And you've got Apple Pay and Android Pay and Samsung Pay. So there's at least 3 right there. And then you've got online payment, which, you know, more than 90% of patients prefer to pay their bills online. And if you're using BillFlash for your in-office payments, you're setting yourself up for more successful post-service recurring payments. And that's what we're going to get into with Grace here in just a minute. When you take in-office payments, we can tokenize the card or check data, keep it on file, and now you can use that tokenized stored card to automate payments with monthly plans and automated plans. And with that said, I'm going to just interact with you guys just for a second. I want to ask you a couple of questions. So coming on your screen, I'm going to pose a question. What % of your total revenue for your practice comes from patient billing or from credit card payments? We go ahead and vote. All right, we're about 50% here. I'll give it another 10, 12 seconds. This is exactly what I was hoping to see, you guys. Thank you for cooperating and participating in this. This is right where I thought we might see it. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll now and share these results so everybody can see. It's almost even across the board. Let me share this with you. Yeah, so you can see that you're right there. Let's see, most of you were right there. Look at that, 25, 23, 23, 20. Right there, you're all within 21 to 60+% of your revenue coming from credit card payments. That's great. Thank you for that. I'm gonna launch another one here. So I'm gonna close that one. Okay, here's the next one. What percent of your revenue on patient payments comes from check payments? Wow. Here we go. We're about 60% here. I'll give it another couple of seconds. Okay, we're at 80%, so I'm going to close that. This actually surprises me, and in a good way. I like actually honestly seeing more payments being made via credit cards than checks, because this shows the shift we're seeing in the next generation of preferred payment methods, which is cards. And I've got one more poll I'm going to do. Thank you for this. One more time. This question may not have much benefit because most of you are taking credit card payments today, but I want to know how the credit card fees may affect your being able to accept payments from patients. Okay, I'm seeing a big shift. It started out 100% one way, and now it's shifting another way. So we'll give it a couple more seconds here, and I'll close this, and we'll get right into the training that you joined us to see here today. We're at 70%. Okay, I'm going to close this and share that so you guys can see that roughly 30% of you say yes. Credit card fees are a factor. We're going to do something about this, okay? I'm really glad that we did this question. We're going to do something about this. So real quick, before I turn it over to Grace to do this training, my background here, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development and Customer Success, by the way. My background is in the credit card processing industry, and I've been doing this research on ways we can help reduce the costs associated with credit card processing, because I do believe that it can be a factor. However, because of the shift that is happening in this industry and the way your patients are going to prefer to pay their bills, which is online, you're going to have to take credit cards, but we're going to do something about it. So we're going to stay in touch with you. For now, I'm going to close this poll, and I'm going to turn it over to Grace Totten, and she's going to share with you how to use your BillFlash account to create automated payment methods. So Grace, I'm going to hand you the controls.
All right. So I hope everyone can see the screen. Perfect. So I think we're all set. So I'm actually just logged into a test account on our end. So if you have the credit card processing service with us, these plan pay and stored pay and even auto pay services are something that we can get activated right away. If you don't have credit card processing services with us yet, we can get you signed up so you can use these. So what I want to show you guys first is that when we're looking at our plan pay or stored pay or auto pay, what we need to do first is set up an email address. So under this My Account tab, what I'm going to go into is the sub account. This is probably not an area you spend a lot of time looking at just because it's just a general list of the sub-accounts you may have set up. We need to put an email in here, and that email is going to be used for notifications for the stored pay or plan pay or auto pay. I just went ahead and used a coworker's email because we were doing some testing. So you make sure you plug a good email in. You click this edit button and it opens it up for you to put those emails in. So that's how that works. So where
Hey,
we're going to
Grace,
go to add the stored pay and plan pay. Mm-hmm.
could you go back and just
Yeah,
do that one more time? Just make sure we get
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so we can go ahead and hit edit here, and that's where we go ahead and put the email address in here. Make sure this is an email that will be checked often because we do send notifications if a payment plan doesn't go through, or if there are any issues with that. We do send the notifications to the email you put in here. It can be changed at any time. So that's just under the My Account and Sub Account. So I'm just going to hit close edit for now. The next place we want to jump into is the My Pairs. So if we go in here, My Pairs is a list of all the patients we've uploaded a statement for or that we've processed a payment for. So this is a comprehensive list. So for our users that have been with us a long time, this is going to be multiple pages. So what I recommend doing here when you're doing a stored pay, an auto pay, or plan pay, and we're looking for a specific patient, using our search function, which is off to the left right here. So if you pull that drop down that says search by, you can see the different ways we can search. Account number, name, even email address or method, less common ways to search. I would recommend name or account number. So if you put that information in and hit search, it'll pull up the patient you're looking for. For some reason, the patient's not in here. That means that we've never sent them a statement or we've never processed a payment for them. So what you can do is you can add them manually. There's this button in the top right corner. It says add single payer. So if you go ahead and click that, it's going to ask for the account number. Make sure you remember to put their account number as it appears in your practice management software. And you have to go ahead and put their name in there. And then for method, it does make you select method. So you can go ahead and decide if you'd like to just send them an e-bill, a mail, or both. And this is just when a statement does go for them. It doesn't have anything to do with the stored pay, plan pay, or auto pay. Another field that is mandatory is the email address. And this is just because when we set up these services, that's the way we notify the patient. So we'll get into that a little bit, but make sure that the email address for the patient is valid. You click add payer and they're added to the system. So I'm just going to look at one of the patients that's already in here. All of these are test patients. So let's look at Johnny Cash at the very bottom. So what we can do is each column is either stored pay, auto pay, or plan pay. So what I want to look at first is the stored pay. So you come in here. We do need to go ahead and add an email address for Johnny Cash because that's how it works. So let's do johnnycash@gmail.com, johncash@gmail.com, and we go ahead and hit save changes. So that allows us to use the service now. So let me scroll down. So we go to Johnny and we go ahead and click this add button, which is under the stored pay column. So it takes us into the section where we're adding a stored pay. So stored pay is used to store a card on file. So a lot of practices these days, I know with my pediatrician's office, when I go in and do my intake paperwork, they say, let's put a card on file. And that's just for all of my copays and all of that. Obviously, some patients are hesitant, but it's becoming more commonplace. And if you let them know it's totally secure, they're a little bit more willing to give that information. It really makes your life easier and the patient's life so they don't have to always have their card and get it out for every copay. So what we do is we give you a spot here for agreement notes. So this is just basically for internal use only, so the patient's never going to see it. So you can put a little note in here as to why you're setting the patient up for a stored pay, what scenarios you want to charge them a stored pay on. Just add your little notes in there. And then you can set a maximum payment amount. So a lot of times the patient doesn't like to know that their card could be charged any amount. So they say, okay, let's keep my card on file, but the highest you can ever go is $50. So we can go ahead and click 50 there. That can be changed later date as well. So then you select payment method, card or checking account. So if we select card, what it's going to ask us to do is swipe card now. So for those of you that do have a card reader, you can just swipe the card through the card reader and it'll store it that way. A lot of the times it's easier to just key in the card information. So you key it in, card number, expiration, zip code, and hit submit. Checking account, I just want to show you that really quick. We need name on checking account, routing number, account number, and hit submit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in some fake information in here and hit submit. So now it's being added into our secure system. And the thing we'll have to do now is authorize it. So there's 3 different ways to authorize it. And this is to protect you guys as the merchant. If the patient comes back later and says, hey, wait a second, I didn't say that you could store my card on file. This sets it up so that we can say, hey, you actually did. So the first option is email. What this does is it's going to send Johnny Cash an email, and he's going to follow a link in his email to authorize the stored pay. So if we click this authorization instructions, this is kind of a basic outline of what it'll look like. It'll have your practice information up here. It'll say, hello, Johnny, you're authorizing this stored pay, and they'll just click, I agree, activate stored pay. So you can decide to send them an email instructions to payer. The next option is our online option. So this is for patients that have a My Provider Link account with us. So what they'll do is they'll log into their My Provider Link account and go to the automated payment section, and they can authorize from there. I think that's our least common way that patients authorize their stored pays, because email and paper is usually a little bit quicker, or you can do paper. If you click this, it'll print an authorization in the office. It looks pretty much like the email one. It just has a signature line. So you do that, they can sign it, you can store that for your record, and then you click I've received authorization and activate stored pay. So then if we come down here and look at Johnny, his is all active and ready to go. So if we click on method, it'll tell us the method in here, and that can be edited at any time. So let me go back into method. We can edit that if he gives us an updated card. Maybe when this one expires, he wants to put another one on file, we can do that. So as far as what happens when we do have a card on file and we want to charge it, let's look at that. So it's the same process as you normally would under the Get Paid Initiate Payment section. So some of our practices are using integrated software. So it launches directly from your software into your BillFlash account. It'll take you to the same place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and search Johnny Cash in here so you can see what it looks like. So we pull up Johnny Cash and it says, reminder, store pay is active for this, the maximum of $50. So we're like, oh, perfect. I need to do his copay of $25, and we're just going to use the stored pay, so I don't even need your card, and hit submit. So then it goes ahead and processes the payment just like it normally would, but we never had to get the payment method from Johnny because we already had it. So if you go ahead and look at your payment report for that day, it'll just say stored pay, so you know that's how you processed it, rather than like a walk-in, mailed, or telephone payment. Let's go back into this My Payers tab, and I can go ahead and show you what our plan pay looks like. So plan pay is what we call a payment plan. It's the same exact thing. So let's go ahead and look at Johnny again, and we'll come over here and hit add under plan pay. It looks very similar to the stored pay. It gives you a space for agreement notes. Usually a plan pay, I do recommend putting agreement notes because the scenarios for plan pays are pretty specific. A patient has a large balance, they're trying to pay it off. It's good to keep track of your notes in there. Some practice management softwares also allow for notes, so if you don't want to put it in there, it's totally up to you. Then you enter monthly payment amount. So this is how much we're going to automatically deduct from their account per month. So we're going to automatically take this amount out of their account, card or checking account per month. So let's do $50. Number of payments is how many months you want it to run. So maybe this is something we want to go 20 months. We put 20 in there. And then for this one, you select monthly payment date beginning. So if you click in here, it'll actually pull up a calendar where you can select the day. Most patients have a specific day in mind that they like it to run on. So say they say the 20th. We can go ahead and select that. Even if we want to go to like, let's not start this until March or later, you can do it, go as far in the future as you'd like. But you select the day that you want it to run. It's going to run on that day automatically until it's completed or canceled. So then you choose your payment method, card or checking account. So if we select card, it's going to ask us to swipe the card. Checking account, same thing, key in that information. I'm going to just go ahead and key in the card for now, just like I did before, so we can see the next step. Perfect. So this is being added. Our payment plan is just like the stored pay. It does have to be authorized by the patient. So we can do the email authorization. These are the instructions that they would receive. It looks very similar to the stored pay. So they're just activating the plan pay. Even more so than the stored pay, it's very important to have that authorization from the patient because we're automatically taking money from their account each month. So those are the scenarios that sometimes the patients can get a little uppity about if they don't remember setting this up. You always have this to fall back on. I'm just going to do paper for now. I've received authorization and activate plan pay. So then this one's all set to go. The thing about the plan pay is if that doesn't go through, maybe we try to run the payment for Johnny that month and he doesn't have the money. We attempted it and it doesn't come out of his account successfully. We go ahead and send an email to Johnny. We say, hey, your payment plan for this month didn't go through. We also send an email to the office. So we send an email to this email address that we looked at before under the My Account sub-account. So this one gets an email and says, hey, Johnny's payment didn't go through. So that the office can reach out to Johnny and say, what's going on? Do we need to try a different method? Just talk him through the payment. A lot of times if we just send in notice to the patient, they're not going to just jump right on the phone with you and give you a call. Especially if you have a lot of patients, it's good to know which ones didn't go through for the month so you can track those down separately. The last service I want to show you is the AutoPay. This is definitely less common than the plan pay and stored pay. It's completely based off of statements that are going out. So when a statement is uploaded in BillFlash and approved, what we're doing is we're automatically charging that amount to the card on file. So a lot of practices are hesitant of using it because patients don't want to pay everything right away. Some people like to do it just because they're confident that the amount they're billing is what the patient used to pay right away. So let's look at that for this patient. We'll go ahead and click Add under AutoPay. It does let you set a maximum payment amount. For AutoPay, this is something I would recommend doing. So if one month maybe their insurance decided they're not going to cover something, but it's something that they wanted to resubmit a claim on later on, we don't want them to have it automatically deducted a few $1,000s when that was a mistake to begin with. So you could do 200 in here, put the card information in and set that up. For the AutoPay, again, it's completely dependent on a statement going out. So you still have to upload a statement for the patient and approve it. At that time, that's when the payment will be deducted from the patient's account. So this is setting up, and then it's going to ask us to authorize. Same thing, email, online, or paper. We can go ahead and get that set up. Once it's authorized, it's totally active and it'll process the next time you approve a file. So on your report in BillFlash, the Run Report Standard Report in payment transactions, these types of payments, whether it's a plan pay, a store pay, or auto pay, are going to be listed as such on your report. So they'll be intermixed with your normal payments, but it'll just say store pay, plan pay, or auto pay, just so you know how that payment was processed. So if anyone is interested in getting these turned on for their account, if they're not already turned on, definitely let our customer success team know, or Richard or James or myself. So any of us are happy to help with that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Richard.
Thank you, Grace. You were really walking the line there with the Johnny Cash example. I know that was cheesy. Sorry, everybody. Well, let's just wrap this up. Thank you again for your time. Let me just summarize kind of what we talked about today. And we'll get to questions here in 1 second. So to help you more fully utilize payment services and get you paid more and faster, you got to see what's happening in the industry with respect to patient billing and payment trends, which is patients are wanting and preferring more and better communication up front. They want it electronically, and they want to pay their bills online And you can take advantage of automated payment methods and tools like what Grace just showed you. And the way that BillFlash does it falls more in line with payment industry and billing industry guidelines to make sure that your automated payment plans are guaranteed. So if you have any questions or concerns, if you want to review that again or schedule a one-to-one training session with Grace and her account management team, just let us know. You can call or email us at this number or email address, and we'll get something scheduled with you. So I'll leave this up on here while we look at some questions, James, if you want to pose those.
Yeah, there was one question that came through. Grace is responding on there. Grace, if you could jump back on and respond to that question for us.
Yeah, so the question is why is the email only able to be used for one patient? We have two patients with one parent who gets all the information with one email. It should be able to be linked via one email address. If it's not working, I can set it up with the My Provider Link account to have it under one email. So for that specific one, I'd be happy to follow back up directly and get that set up.
Looks like there's some other questions in there too, James. See those?
Yes, I'm sending those through as well. If you can look at those, Grace.
Yep. So the next one is, why did the PlanPay not give an option to use card on file? Seems like you had to enter it when you already had on file. It's a very good question, and we've had it come up a lot. It appears that yes, we did store it in the stored pay, and then we had to go ahead and then store it again in the PlanPay. The way our system works is that it has to be entered both places. So it is an encrypted card. So once we put it in, it becomes encrypted in our system. So we can't just like transfer it over. And then the way our payments are sent via the tokens, it has to be stored separately. I know that's something that potentially could be changed in the future, but currently it does have to be entered multiple times if you want to use the PlanPay, the stored pay, and the AutoPay.
Okay, great. Let me send over a couple more here.
All right, so the next question is, will you be able to run AutoPay Biweekly anytime soon? I think that question meant PlanPay Biweekly. So that is something that I know is a feature enhancement request on our end. I can definitely escalate it with James and Richard, who obviously are on this call as well. It is something we get asked a lot, and I know a lot of practices are used to being able to do either weekly payments or biweekly payments. So I'll definitely see if we can get an update on that, but currently we don't have that ability. Okay, so the next question is, why can't we update the patient demographic in BillFlash like last name and address? That's just because we're getting that information directly from your practice management software. So that is something that needs to be updated from that end. We do have a new service, our collection service, and that does allow you to update a lot of the patient demographic within BillFlash. So if anyone is interested in our collection service, we're happy to give you a demo on that, but that's something that can be updated once you have that service. Another question, are the fees for credit cards still charged when you process credit card transactions?
I'm guessing they're referring to when it's processed automatically.
It's the same credit card fees as a normal payment would be. I think that's probably what that question meant. All the same credit card fees apply. Next question is, any options for patients to set up accounts and add their own credit card information for new patients that has never received a statement? So currently, the only way for patients to add information like store card on file or any of those services is if they have a My Provider Link account. And the only way they can get a My Provider Link account is if they've been sent a statement. So that's how it's currently set up. I don't know if that would change anytime in the future. That's just because they have to have certain information that's printed on the statement in order to get a My Provider Link account. So that's how that is connected. Next question is, how much more would we pay for this service? Nothing more. It's just the same transaction fees as you normally would. So you're not, and nothing. Oh,
There we go.
I think my headset died. Sorry, my headset died, everyone. Okay. I think the last one was how much more would we pay for this service? There aren't any additional fees. It's just the normal transaction fees. Next question is, I am able to pull in linked payments through my Metasoft except for plan pays. How do I get to pull them over in my software? That was something that I know was an issue being worked on between our team and the team over at Metasoft. Those should be working now. If for some reason they're not, definitely send our support team a message, support@billflash.com, and they'll take a look at it. It might just need to be reconfigured or something. They'll make sure they pull what's called the remit list so they can check to see that those payments are coming over correctly. But definitely let us know if that's not working. I think, oh wait, we are having an issue with BillFlash not sending out the statements for siblings, only the first child on the account. How does that affect bill payment with this process? That's a question definitely specific to a software. So that one, if you ask the sibling question and not working for it's only sending for one child. If you want to email our support team about that, support@billflash.com, I can jump on that as well. Sometimes it's depending on how we're getting the file, because we do guarantor-based billing. So we want to take a closer look at that. But yeah, definitely let our support team know, and we can jump on that right away. The next question is, are providers notified there are payments, or do we just go into BillFlash to see it daily? We can get you set up for notifications. We call it a daily transaction summary report. We can list multiple emails on there. So if you're a billing service and you want the provider to know or someone else, we can list multiple emails in there, and it just sends you a nightly email just saying that you have transactions that were processed the previous day, and you can go ahead and go into BillFlash to see the further details on that. So if anyone needs additional emails set up for their account, just let us know. That's a really easy fix on there. The next one is, did I hear correctly that every patient has to manually input it into BillFlash? There's no way to import a CSV or XLS file. So in the My Patients tab, it's everyone that we've uploaded a statement for or processed a payment for. If you're a person that is new to us and doesn't have a lot of people in My Payers, or maybe you don't do statements with us, even if you do statements with us, we are able to upload a CSV file. It's actually a text file on our end that'll update the My Payers. So what we'll need is just an output that has the patient's account number and their first and last name. Typically, we like to have their email address on there as well if you can get that from your practice management. But if you want to get a file together, we can get that uploaded into your account. So that's also something that if you reach out to our support team, that's an easy thing for them to do. Is base commerce used for these functions as well? And that is yes. Base commerce is currently our only merchant processing provider. So yes, these payments will be run through them as well. I think that is the last question, unless there's anything else. But Richard?
No, I don't think so. We got the questions covered. So good job getting through those. Again, if anybody has a need for one-on-one training on these things or additional questions, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to take care of you that way. And thanks again for your time. And we'll see you on the next webinar. We'll send out another email coming soon with what our next webinar will be.